on YouTube because that's how I watched the first season.
Hmm.
Mm.
It's all good though. Shout out to Try. Try's a G.
Yeah, shout out to him, whatever, blah blah blah. You can hear me okay? I'm not too
Oh
loud.
yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you perfectly. Can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
All right. By the way, do you see a button on the top right hand corner that says stream to your audience too?
No.
Oh shit.
Oh,
You
wait a
took
minute.
that off?
Edit, stop mic and cam, remove from stage. Even when I go to the more and the settings and more, it's not allowing me to. Wait a minute, hold up. Hold up, hold up, hold up.
Hold up, wait a minute. Let me put some.
You said top right, right?
Yes, ma'am.
But I just saw something when I went to go try to. Mm, I don't know. I don't know. It's not letting me do nothing.
Damn. Cause it always
Like
be. Go ahead.
how would you do it though?
No, cause like whenever I be coming on your channel, I be seeing the stream to your audience too and stuff like that. Cause like when we were doing them reviews and all that shit.
But did you set it for that? Did you set it for that, or did you just, or do you? Because I had to set it for that.
Oh no, I didn't set nothing up for that. It was just automatically like that.
No, what I'm saying, you will come on mine, right?
Yeah.
I have it set up where you can. That's an option for you. Did you ever set it up so it's an option for me on yours? It will be in your settings.
Oh, hold up. See, this is news to me.
So you
This
gotta
is
go to your
news.
settings. Then you gotta go to like
Guess.
guests or something. Yeah. And then there's
Oh,
boxes you can check, and it says so guests can stream to their channel too.
I have to upgrade it. That's the thing. Shit.
There you go.
Oh, now I
I
get
got
it.
I got that premium, baby. I got that
Uh,
premium. It's
how much
okay.
the premium?
You said
Twenty dollars.
what?
$20 a month. Oh shit. And let me pay off some bills first. I might upgrade. Fuck that.
I did that Black Friday deal.
Oh, you told me
It was
that
a Black
shit.
Friday. Yeah, and then I was able to upgrade to premium, and I paid $412, and it covered the whole entire year.
Ooh, excuse me. Look at you.
Mm-hmm.
Look at you.
I'm a businesswoman. Mm.
Yeah, you're a businesswoman. Look at y'all. She a businesswoman, y'all.
A hungry businesswoman.
Not before I'm getting hungry as fuck too. So I'm debating if I want to get this free pizza tonight, but I have to drive to go get it. And I'm planning on doing deliveries tonight too. So
Oh,
I'm
that
like, fuck it.
sucks.
What?
But you gotta drive to go get it.
I can knock. I don't feel like paying the delivery charge. I got bills to pay. That's the thing. Like that sucks.
Hey Ray, how are you?
Whatever, Sean. How you doing?
We're gonna get started
Whoa.
soon. Red's trying to get his life together.
Yeah, I'm gonna start in about 5 minutes. I'm waiting for some more people to come up.
Did you upload those things that I gave you? that I sent you.
You mean like the theme song? Uploaded to like my.
Yeah, and also the little clip art that I made. Or you're not trying to use that. You just trying to just not be organized. That's why I hate coming over here. You're so unorganized.
Nah, it's not like that. Cause I would definitely upload it. Just that thing about copyright bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
I'm peeping your shit. Don't act like I'm not peeping your shit.
You can still play it, and then like afterwards, you can just go and mute it. That's what I do.
Facts. Facts.
So they can't stop it while you actually live. They can't do it until you actually upload it.
Nah, but further, I did get stopped in the middle of a live because I had like a thumbnail and they didn't fuck like, and they just literally stopped my shit in the middle of a stream. Yeah, that's how I was looking at myself like, fuck, y'all some
Mm.
assholes.
It's because you ain't upgrade. See, upgraders they get away with a little bit more.
I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that upgrade shit. I don't want to hear that upgrade. Look at me. I agree. Look at me. Stop. Whoa. Oh. You know, I'm not even gonna hold you.
It's been a long time
Originally,
since I heard the whole theme song.
because originally it was supposed to have been a Cosby Show. That was supposed to be the next sitcom retrospective. But this whole Cat Williams made me want to rewatch Hang with Mr. Cooper. So I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Cosby Show been talked about. I love the Cosby Show. We can wait till Black History Month. I'm gonna talk about that and Family Matters.
Hmm.
Do it for the black people, you know. Is it that good? Is it talking that fucking good? Because like,
I'm gonna be honest. I just killed 3. So,
Jesus.
it only comes with 3. So I killed my whole platter just that fast. I wanted to make sure I was not famished during this live. Plus, I didn't want them sitting too long. You know, when you have stuff sitting too long.
Right. It just becomes spoiled. I get it, girl. Trust me. I get it. All right. 3 more minutes and I'm about to start this shit.
Hmm. Let me do my exercises. Me, ma, mo. Cow now, brown cow.
This chick.
Reg is ugly. Reg is ugly. Reg is ugly. Reg is ugly. Ugly. Ugly.
Nah, I'm not.
Ugly.
Nah, I'm not.
Ugly face. UGLY. You ain't got no alibi. You ugly. You ugly. What? You know what?
Childish. You childish.
I'm
You just
childish.
childish.
You know what else is childish? These nuts. Let's get started. It's 8:15.
All right, let's start this fucking shit because you already cutting up already. You already cutting up. All right, what's up, you two? How's everyone doing this lovely Thursday night? One more day till the weekend. It's your boy Reg in the building. I got my homegirl, Lashia, aka the ambassador, the organizer of Think Different TV. How you doing?
Hey. Hey guys. How are you tonight?
Yes. I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm great. I'm great. I got my Think Different TV cap on, drinking out my Think Different TV mug, writing with my Think Different TV pen. I'm
You already know.
I'm
You already
already
know.
set up. Oh, shout out to Euphoria Water, my sponsor that
Euphoria
allows
water.
me to
Yeah.
do this thing. Yeah. Yeah. Always gotta shout out my sponsor. Drink water and mind my business.
That's actually a catchy ass jingle and shit. I can't even get that off my.
What's up,
Anyway,
Q?
what's up, Q? Anyway, before I start, I gotta do on this day, and on this day, D'Angelo's Voodoo came out January 25th,
Ooh.
2000. Yes, Black Jesus, one of my favorite albums. One of my favorite albums when it comes to whole neo soul shit. You know what I'm saying? This was known for songs like Untitled, How Does It Feel, Devil's
How
Pie.
does it feel, babe? Wow.
Yes, Spanish Joint, Send It On. Probably one of
Hmm.
my favorite joint on this album, Send It On. You know what I'm saying? This definitely when the Soul Quarians era was happening, where it came out with dope projects like The Roots, Things Fall Apart, comments like Water for Chocolate, Erica Badu, the Mama's Gun album, just to name a few. This album was supposed to have came out really in 1999 for what I looked up, but it got pushed back a couple times. You know what I'm saying? And then you know, he was in the writer's block around this time this album came out, but he's
Hmm.
between like the Brown Sugar album and this album, he would just definitely done like collab like cover songs on soundtracks, like he did a cover of Prince's She's Always in My Hair, Ohio Players, Heaven Must Be Like This. She's Always in
Hmm.
My Hair, Stream 2 soundtrack. Heaven Must Be Like This was on Down in the Delta soundtrack. My favorite
Hmm.
cover, the cover he did of with Erica Badu with Your Precious Love for Marvin and Tammy for the High School High soundtrack. Never liked that movie High School High, but the soundtrack was dope as fuck. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it was just goofy as fuck. You know what I'm saying? Um, and then we should know that in 1998 he did the whole song with Lauryn Hill, Nothing Even Matters, from the Miseducation Lauryn Hill album, which is a classic album in my opinion. This album is definitely a must-have if you love neo soul, if you love R&B. Do you have any memories
And
of
if
this
you're a woman,
album?
if you like seeing a good-looking man on the cover, sheesh, D'Angelo was that work, honey. He had that body. You was like, you was salivating. Just the Untitled video was just woo, woo. Anyway,
I'm talking about the music coming from your soul. You automatically want to talk about the Untitled video.
hey, did you know he did a remix with Eric Benet? Um, Let's Stay Together
No, I never
on
knew
the
that.
so Let's Stay Together. The original, I believe, was on the Thin Line Between Love and Hate album soundtrack, and they had
Right.
did a remix, and D'Angelo was on that one, and I was like, ooh, two sexy men on one track. I can't. I feel like I'm gonna fall over and faint. I swoon.
I don't think I've ever heard that soundtrack. Oh wow.
Yeah, you gotta listen to the Line Between Love and Hate soundtrack. Uh of course you had the title track that was actually a remake of a song. Thin Line Between Love and Hate is a song back from the 70s. Shout out to the Poindexters. They wrote it, and then they took in and it's crazy because real quick story. So I was supposed to be part of like a review, like a Diana Ross review, Supreme's review, way back in the day when I was younger. like 20 some, I was like 20, maybe 20, 21. And it was this guy named, why can't I think of his name? I feel like his name is Mr. Bill or something like that. I don't know. Well, anyway, he took me to New York and he said, I had somebody for you to meet. And this was in Queens. So he takes me out to this house and I'm like, all right, cool. I go up there. Now, mind you, I wasn't thinking this dude was a creep or anything like that. He was an old guy. He was like, he had to be in his 60s. I didn't think he was a creep. I didn't think, my mom and dad knew where I was. And I was an adult. So I go out to New York. We go up to Queens and we go to this house. And it was the Poindexter's house. So I was young and I really wasn't, let's say I was a songwriter, but I wasn't a person that researched other songwriters. I was just like a songwriter. You get what I'm saying? I wasn't like, oh my gosh, did you hear that new song written by such and such? Like how I am now. I do a little bit more research, but back then I wasn't. And plus, it wasn't readily available back then like it is now. All the information and the background story about a lot, because the internet has truly evolved since even 5 years ago. So I'm sitting up there in their house, and they actually was writing a song, and they wanted me to do that song. And for some reason, I just could not get into it. It just was like, it had like an older feel to it. At the time, I didn't have the experience I have now to kind of make it my own and add stuff to it and make it sound better. So I kind of passed on the opportunity, but I met them, and it was, before the husband passed away, I was able to meet them, but they never got their just due for that song. Like the movie came out and then they remade the song and all this different stuff, but they didn't get paid for all of that, which was crazy.
It'd be like that. But that's dope. That's dope. So I never knew that. But yeah. Alrighty. So today, for our episode of Sitcom Retrospective, we're going to talk about the show Hangin with Mr. Cooper. This is a show that ran from September 22nd, 1992 to August 30th, 1997 on the ABC. It starred Mark Curry, Dawn Lewis, Holly Robinson Peete, Raven Symone, Sandra Quarterman, Nell Carter, Marquise Wilson, and Omar Gooden as the main cast. It was produced by the Jeff Franklin Productions, created by Jeff Franklin, which you guys should know that name. He was the guy that pretty much made Full House. More on that show later. You know what I'm saying? So so let's get started. How did you get into the show?
How did I get into this show? Well, think about the time that it came out, 1992. I was 5 years old. So I would say I probably didn't start paying attention to it. So I got a little bit older. And I was like 8 years old. But by that time, they were already in like the third season. So I saw a lot of the later episodes with Raven Symone. And you got to think, like, I was coming from watching Cosby, Raven Symone on Cosby, and then she was on Hanging with Mr. Cooper. And Raven Symone was never really ugly to me, but I do feel that on the during Hanging with Mr. Cooper, that was like her ugly phase. And every child goes through it. Like, they be really cute as a kid, and then they had those awkward coming of age years, and then they're an adult. So like Hanging with Mr. Cooper was definitely around her coming of age years. And I remember wanting to have braid, like the extensions like her and stuff like that. And so I definitely came in I was aware of Robin being on the show, but majority of the time that I did watch Hanging with Mr. Cooper, it was when Geneva and Raven Symone, well, the woman that played cousin Geneva was on there, and Raven Symone, and
Okay.
all that other stuff. So I came in on the later episodes, but I do vividly remember the episode where Dawn Lewis was singing "Love" with a guy on stage, and I rewatched the episode and saw that was her father. So I was like, oh, okay. But I do remember that rendition of "Love" because I remember thinking like, oh snap, I like this song, right? Being a singer, coming into my singing age myself. So I remember that, but all the other stuff at the very beginning, I ain't really remember until I rewatched it, and I revisited it because this is Cat Williams' internet, and he was talking about it, and I was like, wow, he makes a lot of good points. Let me go back and watch it. So yeah.
Right.
So thank you, Cat Williams.
Yep. Yep. And just to let y'all know, um, Cat Williams did kind of influence my decision to talk about this show, but it's not like I just started watching the show this year. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, cause I remember back in, of course, I didn't really watch it when it was running on TGIF. You know what I'm saying? But I did catch on syndication. I remember it was this channel called the Ion Channel, and I was bored as
Mm.
fuck, so I was watching it. And I was like, oh shit, it's him with Mr. Cooper. I was like, oh, that's the girl from Different World. And it had, of course, Omar Gooding on that show. So I was like, okay, this show's kind of funny. You know what I'm saying? But then I managed to like watch the full series, and I'm gonna get more into what I think about the show. But I definitely love the laid back atmosphere of this show. I felt like Mark Curry, as a comedian, never really got his just due, in my personal opinion. You know what I'm saying? And how can I put this?
He's really good at breaking that fourth wall, man.
That part, and it's like he's like one of the more energetic and charismatic. It's like he has a lot of energy, but he mixes it up with his charisma. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you said what?
I was about to say it was a lot of keeping it real moments on the
Right.
show without it being too raunchy or too explicit or him cussing. He did have his whole thing where he always was like, damn, but he never was cussing on the show like crazy cussing. But he
Yeah.
definitely, said a lot of what it did, a lot of what something. Think of Three's Company.
We'll get
That's
into that.
what that's what that show definitely reminded me of. So since we're gonna save that for later, that's all I wanted to say.
Okay, cool. Definitely. So that's my favorite part. Just talk about the whole fucking history of the show. You know what I'm saying? I gotta get my water together because I talk too much and shit. You know what I'm saying? But
Euphoria Water. Like, no, I'm just
sponsors. But yeah. So pretty much, I'm gonna take it back to like the early '90s. So Mark Curry was pretty much like an up and coming comedian at this time, and he had already made appearances on like Showtime at the Apollo, Arsenio Hall show. But the thing about it is, he never really wanted to do comedy for long term. You know what I'm saying? Because I never knew this about him, but he actually majored in journalism when he went to California State University and shit like
mm.
that too. You know what I'm saying? So he was actually the youngest of 8 kids. A lot of comedy comes from his family and whatnot too. So he actually toured with Damon Wayans and opened for Whitney Houston at the 1991 Super Bowl. Yes, the same Super Bowl where Whitney Houston performed the national anthem and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So pretty much, he did the movie with Martin Lawrence called Talking Dirty After Dark, which I've seen some of that movie. It's a very weird movie. That's all I'm going to say for right now. And he actually did an HBO special called One Night Stand. You know what I'm saying? And the people at ABC was very, very, very taken aback by his style, so they wanted him to do a show. They wanted him to do a show. You know what I'm saying? Created by Jeff Franklin. And Jeff Franklin, like I mentioned before, he was the guy that made Full House, which at that time was at its peak at that time too. But that show actually around that time left the TGI lineup in that same season, which I'm gonna get more into the CGIF when we talk about this review. So bear with me when I do this. You know what I'm
Well, I
saying?
hope we make
So
around to how some. It's something that I also want to touch on too. That I want to bookmark it. Make sure I don't forget. I'm gonna write it down. Go ahead.
okay, I got. It. I think I know what you're talking about, but we'll talk about that. But yeah, man. So pretty much, you know what I'm saying. He was pretty much, he was pretty much cast on that show, and they got the other cast together. So you had Don Lewis, one of the most underrated. Oh wait,
Oh
scratch
my
that.
God.
Mark Curry, he played Mark Cooper. He was a former Golden State Warriors basketball player who actually went back to high school to teach science and stuff like that, science and music. You know what I'm saying? And Don Lewis, back to Don Lewis. She was pretty much Mark's best friend. She was his ride or die. And Don Lewis at that time was very famous for playing Jaleesa off A Different World. And from what I looked up on this Ebony article from February of 1993, she actually wanted to leave the show way earlier than she did because you got to remember at this time, if you guys remember my Different World retrospective I did years ago, her character Jaleesa was pretty much not really into school like that, and she was pretty much like the last one of the last original cast members left, next to Kadeem Hardison and Jasmine Guy. You know what I'm saying? And she felt like her character was not given a lot to do at that point because at that time, her character married the Colonel, played by Glenn Turman, which I felt like that was a very low point for the character. Not because of it's nothing against like the Colonel. I like the Colonel, but I always liked her character more with Walter, Sinbad's character. But Sinbad left, I think at the end of the fourth season, and they didn't know what to do with the Jaleesa character because at that time Dwayne and Whitley were doing their thing and shit like that too. So she
Terrible
pretty much
move. Terrible move.
yeah. And we'll talk more about Don Lewis too. And so after that, she was his ride or die. And then you had Holly Robinson Peete, who played Vanessa, who was pretty much Mark's roommate and stuff like that too, which I have a lot to say about her character. But Holly Robinson Peete at this time, she was on 21 Jump Street.
21 Jump Street.
Yep. Very, very,
That
very
was
dope
that.
show.
That was that work, honey.
Yeah, yes. That's show. I know my homeboy Mike wanted to talk about that show at some point, so definitely can't wait to talk about that. I have to rewatch the show to be real with you. So, and that was pretty much like the main cast for season one. You know what I'm saying? And then you did have some recurring cast members at the time, like Irvin Rodman. He was played by the very dope and underrated Omar Gooding. And
Oh my.
Omar
Oh my
Gooding, if you
goodness.
guys know,
He stayed with a check back then. He stayed with a check back
yeah,
then. Major
yeah,
props to Omar Gooden. Like,
yeah.
yo, stayed with a check.
One, very funny and versatile. And you gotta remember, his first role, his breakout role really was like he was on that show Wild and Crazy Kids. He was a host and stuff like that too. You know what I'm saying? So he was pretty much like the kid, one of the high school kids and stuff like that to one of Mark Stewart's and players in the basketball team. He pretty much had a father-son relationship to Mark's character. You know what I'm saying? And then you had Tyler, another recurring character. He was a next door neighbor because the '90s loved next door neighbors who made the main characters annoyed as fuck. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna say more on Tyler, his presence later on and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But for the moment, I do feel like he was a very welcome addition. Other recurring season one characters, you had Coach Ricketts, played by
Oh my.
Roger E. Mosley.
May he rest in
who
peace. I looked
yeah,
him up and I was like, dang, he passed away 2 years ago. Sheesh, I felt like he
yes,
was still alive.
yeah, played by
Damn.
that. He was on Magnum PI. He played TC. I liked his character, but there was sometimes he was just a bit too energetic. I'm just like, okay, tone it down a little bit. I don't know if it was the writing or the acting, but he was a bit too out
I didn't
there.
feel
You
that
know what I'm
way
saying?
at all.
Of course, I know that. Of course, yeah. But other than that, the show that was pretty much a show in the season one, and the show pretty much debuted in the 1992 and 1993 season on Tuesday night on ABC, right after Full House. Because Full House had to be the lead
Mhm.
in, and then it was right before Roseanne, because at that time Roseanne was a number two show that year. You know what I'm saying? Which that was a very good lineup. That Tuesday ABC lineup. We had Full House, Mr. Cooper, Roseanne. Then it ended off with Coach, which I'm not really a big fan of Coach like that. You know what I'm saying? But you said
Different
what?
strokes for different folks. Different strokes for different folks.
Oh yeah.
I liked
Oh yeah.
Coach.
Really? What?
I liked Coach. Yeah, I'm the same person that like
Wow.
Becker and Frasier and all those other type of shows. So
Okay.
like, yeah,
Becker and
so
Fraser
it
were
kind
close.
of.
Yeah.
But Coach was, it was okay. It was good. I liked it.
Respect. I mean, I like Craig T. Nelson. Don't get me. I like Craig T. Nelson and shit. But yeah, man.
I
I
like
just
it better
it
when he
just
playing a bad guy though. I like it better when he playing a bad guy.
right.
Like, I
It's just
mean, when he's a wholesome guy, it's okay. But when he play a bad guy, like when he played the bad guy on Monk, oh my gosh. I was
right.
like, yes, this is it. I think he even played a bad guy on Law and Order.
Yeah, he
But
was better than black guys. Yeah. But I definitely respect your opinion. You're just the first person I know that likes that show in this day and age and shit. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? But yeah, man. I mean, the cast. I mean, it had a good cast, but it just never made me laugh. But other than that, I felt like the first season of this show was the best season because it was a very, very, very the
wait a
whole
minute. Did you
chemistry.
mention Mel Carter?
I'm gonna mention it I'm talking about season by season because she didn't come
Okay,
on until
okay,
like the
okay,
third. But I
okay,
got
okay,
you. I
okay,
got
okay,
you.
okay.
But yeah, the first season to me was the best season because you gotta remember, black sitcoms around this time. You know what I'm saying? This was 1992. The Cosby Show just ended, and what was the biggest black sitcom that debuted in 1992 was Martin. And
Oh
Martin Lawrence,
yeah.
yeah, and Martin Lawrence was at his peak. Well, not at his peak, but he was getting in his prime because he was doing his Def Comedy Jam. Then he was in Boomerang. Then the show came out, and yeah, we talk about Martin to death. You know what I'm saying? But
And how it was similar, I'm sorry to cut you off, but how it was similar, Martin and Hanging with Mr. Cooper, is that breaking the fourth wall type of monologue at the beginning, but
yes,
only like, but Martin did it with I don't with no audience. He did it with no
right,
audience. He wasn't like actually performing it. He would be sitting there and just like talking, and then and then the show would start. But Mark Curry, he did like a breaking the fourth wall monologue type of thing, with the audience, getting engaged with the audience and getting them hyped up and stuff like that, and actually did stuff that you know that the audience could participate in and they can have laughs, before the show even started. You know, um,
right,
I think that's what made me really like the show too. When I rewatched it, I was just like, wow, he really wanted to make it an all around show, like a comedy show, but also realized it was a sitcom too. So,
right,
and where most people they would cut that stuff off and they wouldn't show that on TV, when the cast comes out and talks to the crowd and stuff like that, where a lot of TV shows wasn't doing that. He was like, you know what, let's show us doing it. Let's, and he made nods to Roseanne and
yep,
I I really appreciated the crossover show. I'm not going to talk about it too much because I know you still got to do your introduction, which is taking like 35 minutes. But
I mean, I already did the introduction. I'm just, talking about the history of the show and stuff like that. But
I was just playing with you. I was just playing with you. I was just
you know,
joking.
I
But
know.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm gonna shut up
No,
now.
you good. You good. But yeah, and that's another thing too, because it just added on to the laid back charisma of like the whole first season. Because I've seen a lot of people say that it was compared to Three's Company. You know what I'm saying? With the whole two female roommates and a guy and stuff like that too. Which I mean, I'm not mad about that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not mad about that. But I definitely feel like it's definitely representing like the black singles in the city. You know what I'm saying? Especially like the 20s, that age between like the mid 20s and early 30s and whatnot too. Which it shows like Living Single that came out 1 year later and stuff like
Hmm.
that too. You know what I'm saying? Little trivia: Yvette Lee Bowser, the creator of Living Single, actually done some writing on this show too. So that's just another thing I have
Ooh.
to mention. Yeah, yes, yes. So
But it was
everybody was
showing
like,
just how much how inflation, well, yeah, how much inflation and how much our living situations was really jacked up because no longer were you able to have a family in a household, living in a household. You had to have three people sharing the dag on rent.
right,
So just like on living single. Three ladies living in one house together, one apartment together. Come on now. That's too much because Maxine didn't live there. She just was over there a lot. But
right,
you would have thought she lived there. But you got three people living in one apartment. And that's crazy too. Because you see how living single was three women in an apartment. At least hanging with Mr. Cooper, it was three people in the house. You know,
yeah,
So, but we also talk about Oakland, California, as opposed to, I believe, New York. So,
definitely, yeah. And I mean, that's just how sitcoms were about that time and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But definitely, the first season was definitely a favorite of mine. I'm gonna talk more about my favorite episodes in a minute. But then the beginning of the end happened, in my opinion. So first of all, somebody had a bright idea, wanted to put this show on the TGIF lineup, and they wanted to make it more family oriented sitcom. So then they kicked Don Lewis out the show, which I felt like that was kind of crazy because she left Different World, and then by that time, Different World literally got canceled in 1993 too. So it's just like fuck. Oh well, but anyway.
wait, wait,
So
wait, 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 wait. Back that up. She left. She gave up a different world to come work on Hanging with Mr. Cooper,
yeah,
and then they turned around and said, "We no longer need you," and got rid of her. And then she couldn't go back to different world. That's crazy.
it
That's
is.
crazy.
And I've been trying to find a good reason why she left, but then the most I was able to come up with the fact that ABC just didn't feel like her character was a good fit. You know what I'm saying? That's where I can come up with. So that's where I'm just gonna go with. So the show was then placed on the TGIF lineup, you know what I'm saying, at 9:30. Family Matters was 8 o'clock,
Ooh,
Boy Meets World was 8:30. Step by Step was 9 o'clock. You
9:30.
know what I'm saying?
When you get put in that
Yeah.
slot, you pretty much your show gonna die. Your show gonna die.
But but this is the thing though, because the 9:30 slot, that's like the more adult orientated stuff from the family lineup. But they were trying to make it more family show. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. So you would think that show would probably be like 8:30 or even 9 o'clock the latest and stuff like that too. But I digress. Oh yeah, because Boy Meets World, that was a new show at that time.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? So
I love Boy Meets World.
yeah, but
It was my show.
that was a classic show. That was classic. But Yeah, so the
I
second
just didn't like
season,
how they made. I just didn't like how they started making Eric like dumb because in the earlier episodes he actually had intelligence, and then they just was like, let's make him all the way dumb. Like I'm like, why? Why are we doing this? Then Step by Step followed suit and had their cousin on there who wasn't that bright, and I was like, is this starting to be like, cute guy, but really dumb? Like, is this what we're doing now? Because Eric was fine. Okay, Eric was fine. But it was like, y'all trying to make this dude a whole dummy. Why? He could be educated and he couldn't be super educated. But I was just like, how you make him so he dumber than his younger brother? Like, what? Anyway, I digress. Let me stop. This Hanging with
yeah,
Mr. Cooper review.
definitely. So that year they added what's her name? Raven Symone and Sandra Quarterman as like their Mark's cousins who moves in with Mark and Vanessa. I'm gonna be quite honest with you. I never liked Geneva. I felt like she was annoying. Her voice was annoying. That motherly tone was annoying. The way how she like Mark, like I could never stand Geneva. I don't like the actress. I don't like the character. I just feel like every scene she's in is just like she tries so hard to be funny. She was no Dawn Lewis, you know what I'm saying? It's just like
no,
but then
not at all.
right.
Not at all.
But then you had Raven Simone's character, and this is where I kind of go back and forth with because this is around the era between Cosby Show and That's So Raven. You know, like you said, she was going through a puberty age, and I'm not going to hold you. I didn't think she was all that funny on this show like that. However, I do feel like she was a better presence than Geneva because I feel like there was sometimes when she upstaged Sandra Quarterman, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? But I just didn't feel like she was literally as funny on this show like that, you know. And
I'm gonna tell you one thing. Having there's a comparison that I feel when I think of Geneva. I think Debbie Allen's character on In the House. Like definitely could just get rid of them and it don't affect the show at all.
I somewhat disagree with you on that.
I mean, when they got rid of Debbie Allen, it didn't hurt the show. It didn't hurt the show. I mean, they didn't really get rid of her. She just kind of like was like, this is not where, but let's be honest, like when she left, it didn't really make a difference because they kept Tiffany on there, and that really, come on, Maya Campbell. At that time, all the guys had a crush on her. And then you had LL Cool J, which so it was like, and then Tiffany had a younger brother. They got rid of him too. Like,
well, he wasn't needed on the show.
He had a younger brother. The younger brother wasn't even on there no more. So it was kind of like, I'm not saying she's as annoying as Sandra Quarterman's character Geneva, but as far as the need for her character, like it explained why Raven was there because that's her mom, but she could have left and it could have been just like she had to go home to take care of a sick relative and left Raven there with Mark Curry, and nobody would have batted an eye. They would have been like, okay. What? It don't even matter. So yeah, that's how I feel about Geneva. She wasn't terrible. It was different. You know what made it different though? Because the chemistry between him and Dawn Lewis was so genuine.
It was.
It was so genuine. And it felt like they actually was friends for years and years and years, but they probably was in real life. I mean, running in the same circles, Dawn Lewis working on a different world, Mark Curry working with Damon Wayans and all that stuff. And you know how everybody was kind of entangled at that point in time because all the black actors and comedians, they kind of like stayed together because they realized like, shit, it's us. Like, you know, we gotta stick together in this joint. And then, you know, the chemistry that he had with Holly Robinson and later Holly Robinson Peete, you know, it was genuine too. But Holly Robinson was originally the corny one out of the three of them.
I was gonna mention that. I was gonna mention that too, but
yeah, so it's like, you know, when you got Holly Robinson Peete, that's supposed to be the corny one out of the three of them because it's supposed to be this soul tie, I want to say, between Mark and Robin, because they've known each other for so long, so they got like inside jokes and they can key it up. And then Holly Robinson Peete is Robin's friend, and she's just kind of like in there. And then you get rid of Robin, you take away that childhood aspect. You bring in Geneva that's supposed to be Mark's cousin, but he's not as close to his cousin as he was to Robin. And so now you got two corny people living in a house and a child, and then Mark. But yeah, sorry.
You good. And that's the thing I was going to mention too with season 2. That's another thing I didn't like because it was just like, with Vanessa's character, she was like the corny, but she was like the bougie type, like the prototype. I've always said that her character was kind of like a prototype of Regine from Living Single in a weird way. But then, I feel like during the remainder of the run, character would range from her character would range from childlike to bougie to goofy. It was just like there was no steady regimen with her character after the first season. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna save my thoughts on the Mark and Vanessa relation. I'm gonna save my thoughts on that. But then you had Nell Carter, who was also on the show. One of the other probably the funniest thing out of season 2, to be real with you. She was like the principal of the high school and stuff like that too. You know what I'm saying? She was always on Mark's ass, literally. She played by Carter. PJ played by Nell Carter and whatnot too. And you guys should know I'm a huge Nell Carter fan. I've always thought she was very dope. Even though I never really cared for Give Me a Break like that, but that's another story for a different day.
But she was really big on physical comedy.
Yeah, she was. But yeah, man, season 2 is just, and then the TGIF formula, I don't know, it just never really correlated with me. And stuff like that, you know, never really correlated with me. But I mean, the ratings went down, but it was always winning its time slot, so that should matter at that time. So they kept renewing it and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And then they had Christoph St. John. All my Young and Restless fans, y'all should know about him. He played a love interest to Vanessa and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Which, I mean, he was pretty decent on the show. You know what I'm saying? I just felt like again, they were just trying to like throw shit on the wall to make shit work. You know what I'm saying? And then
did you hear about? I'm sure you're familiar with Charlie and Company that has been resurfacing lately. Yeah, so Charlie and Company, for those who don't know what Charlie and Company is, it came out around the same time as it was around the time of Cosby. It had Gladys Knight. It had Flip Wilson. They were married. And they had 3 children, one of them being Christoph St. John, and the other one being Jaleel White. And then I forget the little girl's name. And it also had Della Reese on there, I believe, as maybe Gladys Knight's sister or mom or something like that. But I know that it was always beef between her and Flip Wilson. And not real beef, but on the show. Like that's how it was written. Kind of like the combativeness between Aunt Esther and Fred
Yeah,
Sanford, or
yeah.
between Pam and Martin or Martin. So Christoph St. John, he was on Young and the Restless, true. But I think they also he was bouncing around because Charlie and Company didn't last that long. Unfortunately, it kind of like it was going somewhere and then it just died, and they really didn't know what else to do with it. And actually, Cosby came a little bit after that. No, it was around the same time. Was it Cosby? Yeah, because
Char-
Jaleel White
Charlie.
was supposed to play Rudy,
Yeah.
because Rudy was actually written for a boy. But then I guess Keisha came in and she auditioned for the role, and they was like, this girl is adorable. Well, maybe we can make Rudy a girl instead of making it a boy. So Jaleel didn't get that part, but that opened them up to do future projects, being Family Matters, which ended up being on the TGIF lineup later on down the line with him playing Urkel. So it's like everything kind of worked out the way it did. Christoph St. John, may he continue to rest in peace, him and his son. But I it was crazy how everybody was so intertwined back then.
Right.
And just if I was in that era, if I was an adult in that era, and I saw how many different people was here and there, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, such and such is on here, and then they on here. So a lot of people was in the comments on the Charlie and Company clip that's resurfacing around on IG saying, "Dang, that's why when Family Matters came out and Urkel showed up, people was like, oh, that's the kid from off of Charlie and Company." But he went a long time without doing something before he really landed the role. He was doing like little odd jobs here and there, but yeah, okay, I'm shut up.
Yeah, I know what show you're talking about, Charlie and Company. I saw some of that show. I mean, it was pretty decent, you know what I'm saying? But that was pretty much CBS's way of trying to do their own Cosby show. The cast was great though. I love the cast, but still, you know what I'm saying? And it's a shame too, because I actually fuck with Flip Wilson. But back to the point, you know what I'm saying? So the show, by the end of the fourth season, the show went to syndication, and they pretty much kind of like canceled the show because of ratings. But then they brought it back because they do this shift to shows back in the time. Like they cancel Black Sitcom, they bring it back for 13 episodes, and on this last season, it was pretty much just Mark and Vanessa dating and stuff like that too. And pretty much it was supposed to have had a series finale, them trying to get ready for the wedding, but then tragedy happened. Princess Diana passed away, and the news report pretty much preempted the series finale of the show. And because of that, they never the series finale never actually aired in its time slot, its original time slot. It actually aired in syndication. But you're not missing that much, because the series finale is just pretty much Mark wanting to wear a squirrel costume for wedding pictures with Vanessa. That's pretty much the last episode. Anyway,
but that guy was nuts.
Yeah, no pun intended. But despite that weird series finale, the show really was like a cult favorite when it came to like a lot of people growing up in that period. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to like the whole TGIF lineup, they always, mention the Family Matters and the Four Houses. But people really mentioning the Hanging with Mr. Cooper. And in my opinion, the first season alone is what would make people want to watch the show. I would start off with the first season and everything like that too. Oh, the theme songs. How could I forget the theme songs? So they had 3 theme songs. The first theme song they had En Vogue. You know what I'm saying, with the oh, oh, oh. That's my favorite. To me, that's the theme song I always think of when it comes to the show. Then the second season, they had Howard Hewitt. Yes, Shalimar Howard Hewitt doing a cover of Soul Man. But if you guys get the DVD or if you watch the show on HBO Max, they actually replaced that because I think copyright licensing issues, and they replaced it with the season 3 Onward theme song, that Cooper, which I hate that theme song. I feel like as the show got more blander, the theme songs got more blander. And then they had like Mark Cooper doing some dancing, like some Bill Cosby kind of. I was like, come on now, like they should have just kept the En Vogue theme song. That En Vogue were from Oakland. Come on, like they were fucking from Oakland.
It's because this show was too much black excellence.
Yes,
all in one, and that's what. And that brings me to the whole thing about ABC and all these major broadcasting companies. One thing they love to do is they love to have black people. They love to have urban shows.
That's the right word. Yep.
Boost the ratings, get people to watch their channel, and then they take that same show, same formula, they put a more commercial cast in it.
Friends.
Then they take and they put that show on up against the original show that was like that, and tell the original show that they have to change some things up, which eventually goes against what made the show popular in the first place, causing it to die amongst the loyal viewers that have been watching the show. And then they phase it out, and now these other shows are going 7 seasons, 8 seasons, 9 seasons, 10 seasons, doing reunion shows, all this different stuff. And it's just like, wow, like that's crazy, because Hanging with Mr. Cooper, now, true enough, going back to the Three's Company reference.
Yeah.
But Three's Company was a different circumstance, see, Jack Tripper was not supposed to live with 2 women.
No.
Because back then, it was taboo for a man to be living with 2 women. And the only reason why he got away with it is because the Ropers and later Mr. Furley, they thought that Jack Tripper was gay. And so they allowed it because they thought it was no way this gay man is going to be trying to get with these women, which caused for a crazy arc. But also, if we think about the characters, Jack Tripper, Mark Cooper. Wait a minute. No, it's not the same amount of letters, but Jack Tripper, Mark Cooper. Then you have Rob. No, listen, for real. Then you got Robin and Janet.
Yep.
And then you have Chrissy and Vanessa. The 2 S's. Yeah, think about it. Crazy, but listen.
I said the same thing.
But, and I think it's the same amount of letters too. Vanessa, Chrissy. Yep. Same amount of letters. And Janet and Robin, same amount of letters. Mark, Jack, same amount of letters. I'm really big on stuff like that. As far as the only thing about Jack and about Three's Company that was different from, Hanging with Mr. Cooper, is that we saw their lives outside of the house a lot more. But that that could also be because, like, some back then they probably didn't have budgets like they had later on when they did Mr. Cooper. So it was like we can only do like 2 sets. So we're gonna have a set of the house and we're gonna have a set of the bar. Like that's it.
Right.
You rarely saw other sets on Three's Company, which also had an amazing theme song. Coming knock on the door, we been waiting. Like, yeah, it's like definitely like. But the thing about it is that um it's kind of like the same type of characters too, because when you think about it, Janet and Robin, they're more like the level-headed ones. Then you got Vanessa and Chrissy, they're kind of like the bubble heads, but they got good intentions. They're smart when it comes to certain things. And then you got Mark and Jack, who both are playboys in a sense. They like being around these beautiful women. But what I realized about hanging with Mr. Cooper is that Mark, that's the only friends he had. Like, think about it. He just had
no.
He didn't have no. What friend you knew who was coming over and hanging out with Mark? Enlighten me, because I ain't seen no. I ain't seen no other friends. Because I know Jack Tripper had his friend that used to come over there, the one that was like, like the dude that he would hang out with. But I'm
Larry.
Like, yeah, Larry.
Mark, like it was sporadic throughout the show, but he did have some homeboys. Like Don Cheadle was on the show at one point. He played like a homeboy.
For like a couple of episodes, but not a reoccurring character.
I mean, he hung out with Irving.
But no, and that's the thing. Like, Mark, thing I loved about hanging with Mr. Cooper is that he really, really loved the kids. He really wanted to give back to the kids. He really wanted to be a substitute teacher. He really wanted to do all of these things. And the star power that he had in the first season, oh my gosh, it was like, this show cannot fail. Like,
exactly.
And especially when they did the crossover show in the 3rd episode, or was it the 2nd episode? No, 3rd episode.
With Full House?
Yeah, I think it was the 3rd episode. Oh.
You're right. It was around there. You're right.
It was like the 2nd or 3rd one. Because I know it was like after they got them. But here's the thing about breaking the 4th wall, right? I always remember the 1st episode of Hanging with Mr. Cooper because of the fact that they was using the house from
Growing Pains.
They was using that house. And I remember that episode when he came in there and all that stuff, and it was like, I wonder who these white people were. And he was like, but did you catch it? But did you catch it when he hit on the stage? He was like, take this too. It looks a little demonic. Take this too.
I know what you mean.
I was like, hey, like he had no chill.
It was slick as fuck because that same year, Growing Pains canceled that same year too and shit.
He was like, wait a minute, didn't this show get canceled? He was like, no, actually it was retired or something like that. He's like, that's what it is after you do 7 seasons. He was like, okay. And then he was like trying to be like, hey, if you ever need a white guy on the show, he was like, nah. Like, get your ass out of here. Like, but I love that because it wasn't like he was like, I'm starstruck or anything like that. He was like, who is this white man coming in here? This is my show now. Like, this is my set. Like, and then in the 2nd episode, he came out and said, hey, y'all, this is the 2nd episode of the show. I know y'all looked at the first episode and saw we was in the set of the Growing Pains, but now we got our own house, and he gave a whole tour, and it added so much more funny to it because we know it's a TV show. We know that it's a set, But the way he was just like so open with it, he just did not give a F about anything. Like he was like, I'm going to show y'all behind the scenes. When he went up the steps, he was like, wait a minute, where the second floor at? He was like, hold up. He was like, Robin, Vanessa, y'all pay the rent. Get the pay for the second floor. I was dying, yo. I was like, yo, he really brought that element, that fourth wall element to life on that show. It was so refreshing. And to see it be genuine comedy. Right. You get what I'm saying? Genuine comedy, not trying to make fun of nobody or anything like that. He spoke what was on his mind. And then the crossover episode was so good. It was so good, yo. It was so good. But I digress. So
yeah,
good.
because like the 90s really had a thing for just breaking the fourth wall. You know what I'm saying? Because like a lot of shows were flirting with it, especially the show It's Gary Shandling Show, which Mark Cooper also did some work on that one too from what I looked up. You know, they like to like, you know, poke on the fourth wall and say, y'all know this is not real, right? Like, you remember that show, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, when Carlton ran around the whole studio set.
Yeah.
Or even like in Sister, when Tia and Tamara would always, you know, talk on the fourth wall. Sometimes they make the camera like nod his head or some shit like that too. Even Kenan and Kel. Kenan and Kel is another show that uses that, you know. So
what else? But you know, a lot of them. So Ferris Bueller's Day Off was a big movie in the 80s where is what the main character did. He broke the fourth wall. He was talking to us throughout the movie. And then it was like before, like people would look at the camera or they would like make a look like for real, and then they would go ahead and do. But Ferris Bueller, he was like, I'm going to actually talk to the people. So he did that. And then if you ever watch Saved by the Bell, Zach Morris, Mark Paul, he was a big fan of Ferris Bueller. So he actually suggested to them, hey, what if I talk to the camera as if I'm talking to the audience about certain things and break the fourth wall? And they was just like, they went with it. You get what I'm saying?
yes, sir.
And then, like you said, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and then there was a lot of shows starting to follow that same type of formula, and that's kind of why we got reality TV show now, because you know everybody likes to be, you know, talked about. And then The Office, of course, one of my favorite shows, definitely had the whole thing where you can break the fourth wall when they go into the thing. They're just like talking to the camera by themselves and saying like, you know, the white like would be saying something crazy and everything like that. And he's like, I'm not crazy. And then they'd be like, yo, the white was really crazy. Right. And then, or which call would say something like incredibly racist. And then like you would have Stanley like just like,
yo, Stanley is my dude, bro. Also, and then you have shows like Abbott Elementary that's kind of like bringing that formula, like that Office formula.
They're bringing that back too.
Yeah, and then of course Modern Family, they did that shit too. But Modern Family, they did like a more they borrowed that fourth wall, but it had more of an Arrested Development, like a documentary kind of feel to it. Cause you remember that show Arrested Development, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a very dope show. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, I like when a good show breaks the fourth wall, but when it's done right. Exactly. I've seen some corny ass breaking the fourth wall shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. So yeah, that whole aspect of hanging with Mr. Cooper, and then I'm just gonna talk about the crossover episode. First of all,
go ahead.
The whole thing with having it with Michelle and with Full House and doing that crossover. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It's just like I felt chills. Just like how they used to have Family Matters and Full House do crossover episodes. But the girl Denise, I mean Journey Smollett,
Yeah.
yo, she lost so much spunk as she got older. Like back then when she was Denise, you couldn't tell that little girl nothing. That little girl was bad. For real. She had a mouth on her. When she was walking out and Vanessa was like, "Oh, little Mariah Carey," she was like, "My name is Denise." Right.
That had me dead. I was like, "What is this little?"
And then when she was talking about how, when Mark was playing for the Warriors, and then she was like, "My dad went like this." Because he choked. I was like, yo, this little girl, she was so good. Like, you know what? She didn't get, she didn't get the accolades that she should have gotten as a child star back then. Everybody was so much on the Olsen twins' dick back then that they really
I'm so tired of them. Oh my god.
they didn't really like pay attention to the fact that Journey was that girl. You get what I'm saying? And then when they had that whole thing with Teddy, it was Teddy and Denise, and they was like fighting over who could be Michelle's friend and all this different stuff. And I was like, really, these two little black kids fighting over who could be this little white girl's friend? Like, for real? Like,
That's some old white people shit.
I was like, this is what we doing? But you don't notice that stuff until you get older. Like, I got older, I was like, why are you so pressed to be her friend? Like, what? It's not like it wasn't like she made money or anything. Not like her dad was Danny Tanner, and they had the dad was on TV and he did Wake Up San Francisco and all this different stuff, right? But on some real stuff, like Denise's family was like, Denise was that girl too. Like, she had people in her family too. Then Little Richard show up at the house? And that was like her uncle or something like that.
Yeah.
I was like,
I mean, your uncle is Little Richard.
I'm like, are you serious? Her uncle is Little Richard, and then you pressed to be friends with Michelle Tanner? Like, what? Yo, let me sip my tea on that one.
Yeah, man.
Because that made me all the way mad. Because I was like, y'all is too pressed to be friends with her. But anyway, the crossover episode was really cool because it was like Michelle was just like his little bad luck charm. Broke his butt bone.
Dang.
But it's his fault though. It was his fault though. All he had to do was just choose a book to read in front of the class. No, he like, let's make up our own story. He set himself up for that one. But then that little boy, remember the little boy at the end? He was like, that's what you get for lying. And that kid was bad. Oh my gosh. But what I wanted to know, which kind of confused me, was he like going to different schools and being a substitute at different schools?
No, it was just one school.
I don't believe so, because when he went to go substitute at for the first grade class, that wasn't at the same school as the high schoolers.
Oh, okay. On the first season, he was a substitute, but then
he was like substituting.
Yeah, but then the latter seasons, he was mostly on that high school and shit. So I see what yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You good? I do have a few favorite episodes because I'm about to actually wrap up by 9:30. Surprisingly, my favorite episode, as strongly as I praise the first season, my favorite episode actually comes from season 3. Believe it or not, and it
Mm-hmm.
was an episode, and it was an episode where they thought they won the lottery, and I'm gonna tell you why it's my favorite because I don't know what it is about lottery episodes and sitcoms, but they always have me dead. I don't know what it is and shit like that too. I feel like Martin had the best lottery. Martin had the best lottery episode, but that's another
Oh my
story for a
god.
different. So I like this one because, for one, all the characters were intact, and it was like a lot of great physical comedy between Mark and Vanessa, everything like that too. And surprisingly too, Geneva actually made me laugh in this episode because they were talking about, they say, oh, we won the lottery, we rich, and then Geneva's like, oh yes, we rich, thank you Lord, we rich, and they all looked at her like, what's all this we and shit, that actually did make me laugh. I had to rewind that part like a couple times and shit. 3, the ending was very funny because they used a system to actually see who was going to win the lottery. And this chick Vanessa lied about her age because she was trying to flirt with a nigga and some shit like that too. So Mark literally just chased her around the house. Very great one-liners, and it's crazy because, like I said, that was when the TGIF lineup was really at its hold and everything. But another favorite episode of mine, believe it or not, I do like the episode when Robin father came in the picture, came back, and she had like a lot of daddy issues. Probably Don Lewis's best episode on the show, if you ask me. I like the song they were singing "Love," at the end and everything like that too. You know what I'm saying? Um, that's another favorite episode of mine and shit. Another episode, I'm gonna mention one more. I didn't want to just stick to the first season and shit like that too. This actually came in season 4. It was the episode, I think it's called like "Increase the Peace" or some shit like that. I think it's something like that. Irvin, he likes this girl, but the girl has a brother played by Bumper Robinson, and
Mm-hmm.
he was part of a gang, and he low key pulled a strap on him and stuff like that too. And Mark caught him, but then the ending took like a very dark turn because the girl that Irvin liked, her brother was fucked up with some rival gang members, and they shot her a straight bullet and everything like that too. And it struck with me because that's like literally the only quote unquote very special episode that Cooper have done. Hangman Moose Cooper have done and stuff like that too. Because a lot of shows at that time, they definitely wanted to hammer in the very special episodes. Trying to teach the kids a lesson. Because of course, Family
Mm-hmm.
Matters. Family Matters had a lot of those kind of episodes around that time too.
The
You know
drunk,
what I'm
the
saying?
drunk, the drunken Kimmy Gibbler episode,
Oh yes, that one.
and then you
Every
had
episode of
Parenthood.
Blossom,
You had Parenthood, uh,
right?
where TJ was mixed up with some guys or something like that, and Robert went out there. TK, I'm sorry, TK, and
Mm-hmm.
he went out there, and he's like trying to turn his life around, but the streets keep calling, and then which call went out there to talk them down or whatever, and TK had a gun and he pulled it out on them, and they was all like, oh, but then when they turned away to walk away, the bull pulled out a gun and shot Robert. I think that was his name on there.
Shot him in the
The
head.
dad,
Yeah.
yeah, shot him. So yeah, that was one of those episodes where you just like, dad, like, because you had to wait a long time to see what happened because that was at the end of the season. So now you gotta
Yeah.
wait to see what happened in the newer season. So, are you done with your favorite episodes?
Yeah,
I want
those
to
were like my top. Yeah, those I was done. Yeah.
really quickly because the only season that I watched over was the first season. I do have to watch the rest of the seasons again. Um, But my favorite episode out of the first season was the well, actually it was a two-part one, the Warriors one. And only because it had me on an
Ooh.
emotional roller coaster. Oh my gosh, Reg, can you sit still? You're giving me anxiety. Because it's like you
Adam
just
plug my
can't sit
charger.
still.
Adam plug my
So
charger.
so the two-part Warriors episode, this is where, he was kind of in limbo because, first, they read in the paper that his friend, somebody he played with back in the day in college, I believe, was trying out for the Warriors. And he also was called to come try out for the Warriors. But at the same time, he finally got Coach Ricketts to give him that job that he'd been wanting so badly in PE. And so um he took the day off to go and try out, and then found out like, hey, but Coach Ricketts was not gonna hold the job for him. And here's the thing that I loved about that. It was very real.
Right.
It was very real. Like that show wasn't like, oh, Cinderella story, like the whole episode with the cheerleaders. They At the end of it, they did a great job, but they didn't win. They didn't win. Which if they would have won, it would have gave off kind of like a corny feel like, oh yeah, he worked with them that one time and they was able to triumph and win. But no, it was like, no, we're gonna make it so that they lose. But they learned a very important lesson at the end of it. But the Warriors episode was so funny because you had Charles Barkley on there, was haunting him. He was like eating the oatmeal. He had the triple dream. I hate
Yep.
those. I hate those. Like how I was saying, which call Vanessa gonna come down steps and she got a tennis date with Charles Barkley. Like it was just so crazy, and it's so funny seeing him like that after years of seeing how he is now.
Right.
But to see him in that element, and then um uh Hardaway, yo, little prankster. Like they was, it was just a lot with that episode. But why I say it sent me on a roller coaster is because it's like you saw how much of a rider Robin was for him. How a lot of people was in the comments when I was watching the video on YouTube. They was like, I wish they would have explored a relationship more between Robin and Mark rather than Mark and Vanessa,
I agree.
because Robin understood him and she grew. But then I was like, but also you got to think too. It's like that would mess up a friendship. They've been friends for so long. If something was going to happen, it would have already happened by now. You get what I'm saying? So I wouldn't have agreed with that. I really don't think that he should have even gotten with Vanessa either. But it is what it is. Sometimes, some shows they think that the best thing to do is to give people what they want because the anticipation is there, and they're like, oh well, like on Bones, like finally they let Bones and Angel, I call him Angel, forever. David Boreanaz, they said, oh, let's put them together, just like they put and I was just like, I don't understand why they had to make that happen. Like Fancy and Jamie, like it was just like a lot of stuff. I was like
Yeah.
trying to put everybody together. Like we can,
Thank you.
we can just have the show and not put them together. But I know you're about to wrap it up, so I'm gonna wrap this up with this. The Warriors episode was my favorite episode because it took me up and down on emotions, especially when they hung up his jersey in the gym. That really brought a tear to my eye for some reason because I was like, wow, these kids really care about him. And I love the fact that even in the first season, it was a lot of character development in the first season to make you relate to a lot of the characters and also make you feel. And we're missing sitcoms like that nowadays where they make you feel something. I think the only one recently that I think I felt something on was that's a sitcom is on Netflix. It got Mark Epps and Wanda
The
Sykes
Upshaw.
and all of them, the Upshaws. That's But yeah, if I had to rate Hanging with Mr. Cooper, I would give it a solid 7 out of 10 for me.
Okay.
Um, the first season really grips you, grabs you, and I love Dawn Lewis in it. I love the chemistry between the cast in the first season, and I think Nell Carter was a great addition to it because I do remember some of those episodes. And with Raven Symone, and again, Raven Symone was definitely going through her ugly phase on that show. And
Oh,
you look at how she was on Cosby. Then you see how she was on Hanging with Mr. Cooper. She looked more real on Hanging with Mr. Cooper. To keep it all the way honest, she looked real, like this a real little girl that could be walking down the street, And then she started doing Cheetah Girls, and That's So Raven, and you know, and she was developed by then. But Hanging Up with Mr. Cooper, she ain't had nothing. She was just regular 12, 13-year-old girl, And I like how they had her dressed like a 13-year-old girl.
that's true. Because these days, a lot of these teenagers are dressing like 20 years old. I was like, wow.
Already wearing lace fronts.
Lord have mercy.
They still got baby hairs and they wearing lace fronts. Like, come on. Stop it.
Just stop it.
Just stop it. But yeah, that was my take on Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
Bad.
Ooh, but hanging with my man is also cool. Sometimes that and sometimes act fool. But hanging with my man is also fine. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's a bop. It's a bop. But anyway, I'm gonna end this off right here because I'm about to go get me some pizza and smash. But Lashia, this has been such. Why you make that face though?
Did you just say you gonna have some pizza and then take a smash?
Now it's time to go get this pizza so I can smash on it. That's what I meant. That's what I said.
Oh, down south smash different. Okay, yeah. Smash up here, me and you about to go handle some things in the bathroom. About to take a smash, like I'm like, oh, why are you telling all your business like that? Like, nobody want to know about that. I mean, sometimes pizza do be giving people the bubbly, so I can, but yeah.
But yeah, this has been such a fun review. Thank y'all so much for watching. Shout out to Ant earlier on that podcast we did earlier. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe to his channel. This Saturday, we're gonna do the first 3 house parties, breakdown and shit like that too. You know what I'm saying? The kid and play house parties, not the reboots, not the immature house party. You know what I'm saying? Really can't wait to talk about that. I actually might watch me some house party tomorrow and stuff like that too. You know what I'm saying? So, you got anything going on you want to plug in and shit?
Think Different TV is every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Think Different TV YouTube channel. You can also catch me on In My Opinion, which is on www.live975.com. That's on Sundays at 5:15 Eastern Standard Time. And I'm sorry to think, is there anything else that I got going on? I don't think so. My birthday was yesterday, so woo, 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 woo. And that's pretty much it. So make sure y'all subscribe to my channel. Don't be a stranger. I already got, guess what, Reg? I got 170 subscribers. Yay! I'm getting there. It's a slow climb, but it's an organic climb, which I love. Right. So, and I have a new episode coming out Monday. It's called We're Married Now. Keep up appearances for what? So, yeah,
that's an interesting topic.
Yeah, it's the last installment of my bait and switch series.
I'm off that Monday, But if I'm home and if I'm settled, I'm definitely gonna show up. Cause I did not come last week because I had to work this Monday.
Oh,
Well,
so you
this
didn't hear
week.
my announcement.
No, I didn't. No.
So I'm developing a game show.
You mentioned that you were planning on doing that. You mentioned that.
But it's actually going to happen.
Okay. Okay. Well, just keep me updated. I'll
I
definitely help
will.
promote
I
it.
will.
Yes.
I will.
Yes. Other than that, y'all make sure y'all tune in every Monday or whenever Lashia pops open on Instagram and YouTube. She's always a very energetic, always very charismatic. You know, she gets on my nerves sometimes, but you know, I can't hate. I can't hate. And thank y'all so much for watching this episode of Sitcom Retrospective. Next episode is going to be the Cosby Show. Date is going to be to be announced. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be on Black History Month. You know what I'm saying? You guys can stream the Cooper on HBO Max. All the seasons are released on DVDs, as far as I know. So, but I think on the DVDs there might be some music issues, some clearance issues. You know what I'm saying? So I'll say watch it on HBO Max. That might be the best bet for you. You know what I'm saying? But other
Mhm.
than that,
And if you
hope y'all
want
have
just a
a
little taste of the first season, just go on YouTube.
yeah. YouTube got a few episodes from the first season. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, hope you guys have a very, very, very good night. Lashia, I'll talk to you later. Y'all be safe. Peace.
Bye.